Hey folks, so I want to talk to you for a minute about my fruit trees and the struggles that I've had. So I'm going to flip the camera around, walk over here to my peach tree, which is going to be the main subject of this video, and talk to you about that there. All right, so this is one of two peach trees I've got. This is probably the oldest. This is an Alberta Peach, and I planted it several years ago, probably along the lines of 8 or 9 years ago, and I've never gotten anything off of it because by the time these peaches get about the size of a small green plum, they always turn green, or they always turn brown rather, and fall off. I've had 100% fruit drop every year. This year, and you know, for the most part, I've always kind of neglected this tree. It's always been on my mind to spray it, to fertilize it, and do a whole bunch of stuff. But I've never gotten around to it because I stay on the run so much, it keeps slipping my mind. And I've got other trees that I have the same problem with. And again, it always slips my mind. And this is one of the things that happens. They start draining, but then they turn brown and fall off. But this year, I've tried, and sorry folks, but there's one of them that's dried and shriveled and just didn't come off. That branch is completely snapped off from the weight of the 3 small peaches. Anyway, this year I got a bag of 1010, and I decided, what the heck, you know, I'm gonna fertilize the ground under the tree and just see what happens. Well, this is the first year I've ever seen it covered like this. And these peaches are bigger than they've ever gotten. I've never seen them this big. They're always gone before they even get close to this big. And there's a lot of them. I mean, check this out. So, and here's a couple of examples of what happens to them. It's a type of brown rot. And I need to come out here and pick all of those off. But I'd tried a couple of things in the past, spraying both a copper fungicide and some other stuff, but they always shrivel up, fall off anyway. It never worked. And I'm seeing several now that I'm in the bright daylight. There's a couple up there that are turning brown. So I'm kind of hoping that if I keep feeding it, I'll actually get some peaches this year, because I've never gotten a single peach off of this tree. See, there's some more that are turning brown. And I don't know that much about fruit trees, to be honest with you. This is a learning experience. Again, I've never really pruned this thing, which is probably one mistake. I've never fertilized it, another mistake, I'm sure. I've never sprayed it, which I tried to stay away from pesticides and insecticides, things like that. And I'm thinking that may have been a major mistake as well. Let's see. That one ain't got much more to go before it's ripe, it looks like. So again, I've come out here and I've fed it twice now, I think, with 1010. Just because I didn't know what else to do. I'm not used to feeding these things. I'm not used to taking care of them. I know I need to prune it for sure. Got some nice sized ones up there. But I can say that I've never seen this many peaches on it before. So I don't know if that's a product of the fertilizing that I've done, or if it's simply I'm having a better year. But we're gonna see. I'm gonna come out here probably this weekend sometime while I'm off. I've got a 4-day weekend. This is the second day of a 4-day weekend. I'm gonna come out here and I'm gonna start fertilizing all of my trees. I'll probably do this one again. I'm thinking that this just might not have been well fed and too healthy. I've got a small plum over here that I want to show you here in a second. But if anybody has any suggestions that has experience with peach trees, this is one of the first peach trees I've ever planted. And again, I really don't know what I'm doing, obviously. I'm just trying to figure it out as I go. And it's hard for me to know what to do. I mean, I can look up on the internet, on YouTube, and I see people spraying all kinds of things and painting the trunks with, I guess, what is lime. And I don't really know what I should be doing and when. So if anybody has any suggestions, I'd be grateful. But I'm really hoping to be able to get at least a few peaches off of it this year. It looks like the brown rot's taking over a lot slower than it has in past years. So I'm taking that as a good sign, along with the fact that there are way more peaches on this tree than I've ever seen before, and they're way bigger than I've ever seen them get before. So far, regardless of what the reason is, that's an improvement. Now over here is a small plum. I can't remember what type. I want to say it's a Santa Rosa, but I'm not positive. These things also shrivel up really, really small and drop. Yeah, so, see. And again, I'm thinking it's because they just need fertilizing. And again, this thing needs pruning as well. There's a lot of plums on here, but the difference being that I have actually managed to get a couple of plums off of this tree in the past couple of years. Now, there's only one other tree in my yard that I've ever gotten fruit off of, and that's because it was here when I moved in, and it's a well-established tree, if not neglected, and I've been pruning it and trying to do what I could, but I haven't even fed it either. I haven't fertilized it, I haven't sprayed it. I'm trying to stay away from chemical sprays and do things as natural as possible, which is one reason why I haven't actually used any kind of commercial fertilizer for any of these trees. But I'm at a point now where I want something off of these trees, so I'm willing to try the commercial fertilizer. But again, if anybody has any suggestions, I'm open to listening. And I know, yeah, that's a major sucker right there that needs to be removed. This tree seriously needs to be pruned this fall. So that is definitely on my to-do list. And hopefully I don't get sidetracked with excess overtime and forget to do it. Let me take you into the backyard and show you my pear tree. This is the pear tree that I was working on so much that, last year, trying to top it and prune it. And it looks like a lot thicker now than it did then. And I still got a little bit of, I see some pruning I need to do before next year. That'll wait obviously until late fall to prune this thing, but this tree always gives me a good pear harvest. I mean, as you can see, there's already pears everywhere on this tree. I usually get a lot, way more than I could possibly use. And I've gotten some really big ones. I mean, major softball sized pears. That's the main trunk right there. I mean, it's loaded. I have actually seen it in years. It's not as loaded now as I've seen it in the past, but I have seen years where there were so many pears on these limbs that they were all just dragging the ground. Kind of like that one. But that one's got a few pears on it, but that's not, I think it's just dragging the ground because it's so long and slender. But a lot of these branches were always dragging the ground down here. I tried to prune them off a little bit. But I always get some good pears off of this thing. More than I'll ever use, and I'll end up giving a bunch of them away. So this is the one fruit tree on my property that I've always gotten something off of. Now, aside from this, I've got another peach right here, which is even far more neglected than the Alberta I just showed you, because it's ridiculously tall. It definitely needs to be topped. As you can see, this is what always happens. They get to that point, they start oozing sap, they shrivel up, and then they just turn brown and fall off. So I need to clean out from around this tree, fertilize it like crazy, and then this fall prune it back really good. So that's my second peach tree. I've never gotten anything off of that either. And yeah, I know I've got a whole mess of stuff going through here. I've got a plum tree there. I don't know if it's still alive. I've got some elderberry right there. I got a whole mess of stuff growing right there I need to take out. There's some more elderberry. That stuff is spreading. It's far more invasive than I thought when I bought it and planted it. This is an apple tree. There were 2 apple trees on the property when I moved in, but they were so diseased that they didn't really produce anything. I planted this as a replacement for one. It's a Granny Smith, and it's, again, being so busy, I haven't managed to keep up with it. So it's got suckers off the bottom of it. It's spread out, grown out, and I've yet to see anything on this tree, and it's been in the ground for about as long as my Alberta. Maybe not quite as long. It's I'd say about 6 years now, 6-7 years. Oh, yeah. Walked right into a spider web. So that's the Granny Smith apple. Here's a plum, and obviously one branch of it is died, being choked out by all this hedge and all this privet. But one branch is still alive. I'm hoping to clean it out, fertilize it. This is a golden plum. Yeah, it's a gold plum if I remember correctly. I've gotten 2 or 3 small plums off of it in the past, but like the other, they always fall off before they actually come close to being ripe. And way back over here, I've got another apple planted to replace the second apple that was diseased, and it seriously needs some pruning here. This is an Arkansas Black, and I planted it at the same time as I did that Granny Smith. Obviously, I need to clean out from around it. This stuff right here, this privet, this stuff grows faster than I can keep it cut back. I mean, I can come through here, I can cut it off all the fence lines and everything, and before I know it, it's growing back and growing out of control. So this is a real pain in the butt for me. This privet, I hate this stuff. So I've got this apple here. It's never produced anything. It's been in the ground. I planted it at the same time I planted the Granny Smith. Now I have some other fruit trees out here. I've got some persimmon. I got 2 persimmon and 2 persimmon and 2 pawpaw. I had trouble remembering what it was I planted. They're back in the shade a bit, not doing too well. But again, I need to clean out a bunch of this privet, because every time, I mean, you see how thick that privet is over there. That and oaks growing up through the fence. Every time I get it cleaned out and looking good, then I'll get busy with overtime at work, and I'm working so many hours that I just can't keep up with anything. And then by the time I get more than a day off so that I can work and catch up on stuff in the yard, it looks like this, because this stuff grows so freaking fast here. Okay, here's one of my other trees. Actually, I'm not sure which one this is. I should know. It's either a persimmon or a pawpaw, and I think that's one of the persimmons. I think I've got a pawpaw over in that mess over there, and there's a persimmon or something right over there. I can't remember. But I've got 3 right in here, and I got 1 way over there by my fence. But again, these fruit trees have been a struggle for me. And I know the majority of it, let me flip this camera back around. I know the majority of my problems with these trees is simply that I don't really know what I'm doing, and neglect. It's that simple. I planted all these trees and I pretty much just let them go. Because I knew it would take a few years before they would even come close to producing. So I was trying to give them time to establish a good root system. But I've had so much going on in the last few years with certain family issues that I've gone through, and then also with the massive amount of overtime I get at work. And with all the other things that I work with my garden and all the other things that I have to do, and only getting 1 day off each week, you know, there's always way more to do than you have time for. And therefore, these trees always seem to fall to the side, get forgotten about. They get neglected, they don't get pruned, they don't get fed. And you know, I know that's my fault. And with things going the way they are, I really need to do better. But you only have so many hours in a day, right? And in my case, you only have usually 1 day a week. And then on the rare occasion, I'll get 3 or 4 days off for a weekend, and then I spend most of that time just trying to get caught up on certain things, and I make a little bit of progress, and then I'm back to my 6-day schedule, and I start falling behind again. So it's a battle. It's a constant battle. Anyway, that's all I've got. I just wanted to give you a walk around my yard to show you my fruit trees and the struggles I've been having with those. I'm really hoping to have better success, and I'm feeling a little hopeful, particularly with that peach tree out front, because it's doing better than I've ever seen it. So I'm feeling a little hopeful because of that. And I'm going to do my best this weekend to try to get out here and at least, if not clean out around these trees, at least get it to where I can fertilize them and start fertilizing them now, so that while they probably won't produce anything this year because they've already flowered out for the year, and this one behind me didn't flower at all. The one over there only put on a handful of small buds. Maybe they'll do, if I start now, they'll do so much better next year. Anyway, just wanted to give you a little walk around my yard, look at my fruit trees and the problems that I've been having. If any of you guys have any experience with peach trees and any suggestions on what to try, I welcome it. I'm open to it, and I'll definitely listen to what you have to say. So anyway, I appreciate you guys watching. Like, share, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll get some more videos out to you ASAP. Until then, take care, stay safe, keep prepping, and I'll catch you later.